Hello. This clip is in conjunction with a link below um, to a treatise I've done, which I've uploaded to archive.org. Obviously, the file there is to be read. Everything I have to say is there, but I make reference to Father Malachi Martin, and there's a segment titled Reconstructed Universe. Now I'm going to include that in this file. So basically this clip is very short. We're dealing with the great deceptions that Satan is about to inflict upon us. And basically we can be informed or not informed. This is my attempt to inform people.
On the air with Father Malachi Martin. Hello.
Hello. How are you today, Art?
All right, where are you?
I'm in Austin, Texas.
Yes, sir.
Oh. Yeah, and I believe it was you, Art, first of all, that was asking why there was such a big change in the Catholic Church, and I was just going to suggest that if you think about it, there's probably no other religion anywhere that's quite as organized as that, so if you're wanting to weaken something, that'd be a good place to hit first, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would. He's quite right.
And for the father there, I wondered, has he encountered any things that are left from before there were, I guess you'd have to say, heaven and hell were separate?
I really don't understand the question fully. Please.
Things that were around before there was a world.
Before there was a world?
Yeah.
Well, the Lucifer and Satan and the other devils that we deal with today existed before there was a world.
Mm-hmm. Anything besides them?
Yes.
Yes?
A whole lot of stuff for which we have no human names.
Oh, now there's an answer I did not expect.
Yep. It's very hard. There's no name. We have no human names because we have no physical images. So we can't have human knowledge of it. It's very hard to explain this. And it does belong to the dimensional area of life, but not quite the tridimensional area that we know. See, if it doesn't bore you too much, here's the idea that the universe as we have it today is a reconstructed universe.
Okay.
Oh, look, this is... I'm going to ask both of you to hold on, and we'll pick up on this after the top of the hour, okay? This is too good to let go. So can everybody hold on?
Sure. Certainly.
All right, good. Both of you then. Back now to Father Malachi Martin in Manhattan. Father, how are you holding up?
Fine. Could not be better, Art.
All right. This was one of the most interesting questions or answers to a question I've heard. Caller, are you there?
Yes, I am.
All right. The question was, what was on earth, if anything, before man? Father, you said that Satan and his disciples were here, but you said there were others as well.
Yes, I take it, Art, that the phrase you used just now, on earth, is just refers to the tridimensional existence that we know.
Yes,
by
sir.
Our senses.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, what impedes our minds understanding the answer to Daniel's question, Daniel from Austin's question, is the fact that our minds and our education has been geared, as it were, programmed on the idea of evolution, Darwin's evolution, the Darwinian idea of evolution.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, of course, it's a mythical idea, and it has nothing to do with reality, and doesn't explain reality. But it does. It's in our minds, and it blocks our intelligence. If you read, and I may seem to be rambling, Art, but I'm not really. If you read the first 12 chapters of Genesis, particularly the first 6 or 7 of them,
mm-hmm.
you will find that interlaced with names and supposedly historical references, there are phrases and sentences which suppose the existence of beings for which we have no names. They call the sons of men and the sons of God, the Bnei Elohim, as they call it in Hebrew, and the daughters of men, etc., and the giants that lived in those days. You find all this, and the old Yahwist writer, the old writers, putting this Bible together in the 9th century BC, from the records they had, were doing their best to make a coherent statement, and all they could do was gather testimony. What I was referring to was this, that it would seem, it will take a long time to explain it though, it would seem that the universe as we know it today, you and I and Daniel and the rest of us, is a reconstruction of a universe that was almost destroyed by the first phase of God's creation, namely the angelic world. And the very form of our bodies, is an ad hoc restoration by God. And we won't have this sort of a body when we're in heaven. We will have our bodies, but not this sort of a body. Now, the reconstruction implies that the revolt of Lucifer and the angels that went with him, the Bible says 1/3, but, the Bible's numbers are just numerically interesting. It says that they revolted, and they almost destroyed the first handiwork of God, and there was a restoration in view of the coming of Christ later on, much later on. Now, what existed before that, what was destroyed by this terrible war, this terrible revolt, by the first creatures that came from God's hands, whom we call angels. Angel itself is an ad hoc name, as we say. There's nothing specific about it at all. And it's very hard to be specific about an angel. But anyway, the beings that existed and the forms they took, we have no human words for it. Those chapters of Genesis, the early chapters, they try to fix names like the sons of God, the Bnei Elohim, and Bnei Ha'adam, and the daughters of men, and the sons of God, and the giants, etc. They're all talk names. They also were at a loss because we would not recognize them as human in our sense of the word, because what is human for us is something with legs and arms and a belly and genitals and a head and arms and exiting from the birth canal of a woman. But then what we're left with, and where we can track it, but it's a difficult and a long tracking process, is this, that there is this middle plateau, which is the remnant of the old original created material cosmos, and that on that plateau, Lucifer and his crowd still function and will until the last day of this cosmos, when it's all blown away by the breath of Christ's mouth, and only heaven and hell exist. Now, that may not be much of an explanation, but at least it's the start. It's the first level of an expression or explanation of what I meant.
Help you out, caller?
I was wondering if you had very much problem dealing with those type of entities that are leftovers.
If I stay with my protection, no. If I step outside my protection, yes, I have what can be literally called a hell of an amount of trouble.
Okay. Wildcard line?